We'll beat any rates that don't pay the max. We're title loan king.
Title loan king.
We'll make your wallet sing.
Sing.
Get on up and get down. Into cash. Ka-ching. A better title loan, you better believe it. A lower rate, we guarantee it. Checking the cash. We'll beat any rates that don't pay the max. Oh, yeah. Checking the cash is your money machine. Get on up and get down. Checking the cash. Ka-ching.
Checking the Cash offers title loans up to $2,500 at the lowest rate guaranteed. That's right. Bring them proof of lower rate, and Checking the Cash will beat it. What are you waiting for? Go to checkingthecash.com for a store nearest you.
You're listening to
Backfire with Steve Hickson on Whoop FM. Call 423-614-5553 to join in on the conversation. Now, back to Backfire.
All right, we're back with Backfire. We've lost one of our Democratic parties here. Ron Moore had to leave the studio, so Sally Love, I want to welcome you back again this morning. Thank you for hanging in for round two.
Well, thank you. This is fun.
John Stanberry, welcome. Anyway, I guess I'll start it off. I've got another little recording. We're going to have a short show today. I'm going to have to be leaving here in about 15 minutes.
Yeah,
or so.
the police are at the door and dragging him off to jury duty.
That's right. They're out here waiting on me with their guns right now to drag me off to jury duty. But anyway, I've got another little recording I want to play, and it was a hardcore Republican really upset about some of the way things have been handled. And Michelle Malkin. Anyway, I want you to hear some of her remarks here.
Joining me with reaction is the author of the #1 New York Times bestseller, Culture of Corruption, Michelle Malkin.
Well, it's willful and deliberate whitewashing of the civilizational threats that face us. And I was completely disgusted by the clip that you showed at the beginning of your show, Sean, because these optics suck, White House. I mean, we have 4 Americans who are dead, who were butchered and slaughtered because this administration did not have the foresight to fortify these embassies on the 11th anniversary of 9/11. And there he is with all of his fanboys and fangirls in Vegas raising money while they scream, "I love you," in the middle of an international crisis. And how about his statement this afternoon in the Rose Garden? He couldn't muster up a single flash of anger or outrage that these Americans are dead now. Tough day. Woe is me. The bloodlessness of his statement makes my blood boil, and it should make every American's blood boil, especially in this week, which was a tough week for all of the 3,000 families of the people who died on 9/11.
This is why everybody's blood should be boiling. Everybody. Because for 9.5 hours, the official position of the Obama administration State Department was an official apology to the people that breached our embassy and ripped down our flag. And he said, and we apologize to them? We apologize to them?
Their knee-jerk response is, it's whitewash. It always has been whitewash. What did the State Department do? What did the U.S. Embassy do after they were caught with this ridiculous statement that the White House cut and ran from? They tried to delete it. And thanks to social media, we had it at our site at twitchy.com, those deleted tweets that they tried to bury down the memory hole. And then we have this feckless lapdog media that's conspiring to make this whole issue about Romney instead of about Obama. It's on his hands. The buck stops with you, buddy.
All right.
Michelle Malkin.
Woo! Boy, I tell you what, now she was upset. I could tell she was upset. I guess my question here is, it was a sad thing that happened, a very sad thing. It does seem to me like there should have been more warning, and it does seem to me like there should have been more protection there.
More warning from who? Because according to the Syrians and the Libyans, we actually were warned 3 days ahead.
Well, like I said.
Oh, by the way, that same consulate office in Benghazi was attacked with rocket-propelled grenade launchers in June of this very year.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was a 9/11. there's a lot of problems in that country over there. I just can't believe that there wasn't more precautions taken to protect these people. And Sally, is there any comments you want to make about what's happened?
I think it was very sad, very tragic what happened. I know that there's, the government, State Department, so forth, are conducting a forensic investigation.
Actually, that's interesting because they're not. The FBI is. And
well, FBI.
But here's the point of using the FBI.
Uh-huh.
The State Department is now refusing to answer any questions about this because, the FBI is under investigation on this and we can't answer questions. Who wants to bet whether the FBI report will be due before the elections?
I don't know. I hope that it's not political. It doesn't need to be political. We're all Americans. No one asks if these 4 people, when their coffins, or if their flag-draped coffins were brought to Maryland on the airplane, no one asked if they were Democrat or Republican. They're Americans.
But Sally, the president condemned Mitt Romney's statement 9 hours before he condemned the killings. The first condemnation out of the White House was of his opponent, who simply stood up for America quicker than the president did.
I disagree with that. Number one, the president's comments were about...
Well, you can't disagree with the fact that it took him 9 hours after he condemned Romney making a statement to condemn the actual killing. That's just a fact.
Let's take a call. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, guys. How many times do we have to have these type of travesties? And, I just question what goes on with the government. I mean, you have to really question where they are. And I'm not just talking about this, group we've got in now, this whole passel of clowns that are running the country now, but I'm talking about back even further. How many lives would have been saved at Fort Hood if the military people on the base were allowed to carry guns?
Well, actually, Dan, that brings up an interesting comment, too. The Egyptian ambassador won't allow our Marines protecting her to carry live ammunition. That's this administration.
Why do we allow these things to go on? This is ridiculous. Who is in charge here? Who's got some cojones? It's beyond ridiculous. It's almost like these things are done to put us in a position to where these sort of things can happen. This is madness, absolute madness that these things can happen, and the government facilitates it by not properly arming and not properly securing our embassies, our bases. Why do you have a military base where the people that you've trained to use weapons are not allowed to carry them? How many people would have been saved if they had been armed there? This is ridiculous. This left-wing Marxist crap has got to end.
Thanks, Dan. See you. All right. Woo! Bad situation, as President Obama said. Bad day.
As far as the coffin draped ceremony, that was 1 hour out of the president's day. He skipped his daily intel on the day after this happened, which you can understand. He went over to the State Department to console the State Department, and that's appropriate. But then, instead of rescheduling his intel, he flew off to Las Vegas for a fundraiser and spent the next 9 hours fundraising. 1 hour out of his day to console the State Department. No intel. By the way, he took none of his daily morning intel briefings from the 5th through September 11th. So we're coming up to the anniversary of the largest attack on America in history, and he skips his morning briefings.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not.
It's actually, I'll be glad to print you off the White House log of his day, his schedule. That's what it came from.
However, the president had the ceremony at the receiving the bodies. He also made a statement that their justice would be done.
Well, the problem is, had he listened to the Libyans and beefed up security, had he followed the British example of not having their ambassador in Benghazi in the first place, had he done anything that he should have done, they wouldn't have had any bodies to be sad over. The fact of the matter is, this is his policies coming home to roost. Not only is it his policies, which has generated obviously more hate than the Bush policies did, but the man is asleep at the wheel. He's missed 62% of his morning security briefings over the term of his presidency. And do you want to know what the National Security Advisor's comment was, their spokesman? Now, you listen and think about what this says about the president. Here's what he said. That the reason he can skip these morning security briefings is the president is among the most sophisticated consumers of intelligence on the planet. That's ego and hubris beyond belief.
Well, whether or not the president has a security briefing or not has nothing to do with the horrible terrorist acts that these people have done. And these groups.
Sally, that's like saying whether or not you're blind has nothing to do with how well you drive a car. If you can't see, you can't drive a car. If you don't know what's coming on, how's he going to lead? How can he lead if he's not getting his briefings from the experts in place to tell him?
Well, let's go back to 9/11. President Bush was warned repeatedly about
we had not had any attacks up to that point other than one back in 94, and you're right, he screwed up. He should have been more vigilant. And you know what happened after 9/11? He didn't miss another morning briefing the rest of his 7.5 years. This president has missed 62%.
You know, let's go into what supposedly caused these things. A video on YouTube, a 14-minute video,
which has been out for 2 months.
Anyway, I saw this. I watched this thing the other day myself, just so I
did
see.
too.
It was absolutely hilarious.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
It was.
Anyway, I mean, you know, for them to use that as an excuse,
it's an excuse. These folks had, and I'm not a security expert, and we'll have to wait and see what the investigation finds, but these folks, I think it was just serendipity that this little video was out there, but these folks were going to attack us regardless if it was Elmer Fudd
Sally,
or
I'm
this
glad you
or
said
this.
that because you're at direct odds with the president and his State Department. That's actually the problem. You're absolutely right. I agree with you.
Right.
But the State Department has actually elevated this video, and what's that going to do? That's going to allow them to attack us anytime any other perceived insult comes up.
Yeah, why should we apologize for this video?
We didn't apologize.
We did. You want me to read the statement from the Egyptian embassy? It apologized. Twice. They retweeted it even after the ambassador was killed.
No, I believe that comment was that we don't condone this.
And we apologize for any hurt feelings of the Muslims that this might have caused.
I mean, we can't even say a prayer in high school.
The only thing the president has done is he has now attacked Google for exercising the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Now, you think about that. He's actually asked Google to take this down. Basically, he's censored them. The government has tried to censor Google. Now, you're a civil libertarian. Are you comfortable with that?
And Google said no. They took it down in that country.
However, China asked Yahoo and certain companies to censor, and of course they did that too.
Well, there's an example for us, China.
I know. I did.
The communist country of China is an example for us.
The great bastion of liberty and civil rights, yeah, China.
By the way, let me ask you a question, Steve. Do you know how many people were killed after Christians protested the movie The Last Temptation of Christ?
No.
Oh, my goodness. No, none were killed. Do you remember Fire in the Belly, which showed a crucifix covered in ants? No one was killed after that.
Never saw that one.
Do you remember when they had the Piss Christ, which was the crucifix inverted upside down in a bottle of urine? No one died out of that. No Christians beheaded anyone out of that. Matter of fact, the most interesting one was the elephant dung exhibit in the New York Museum that had a crucifix built out of elephant dung. And there was a full-page advertisement taken out by people like Susan Sarandon, Steve Martin, Norman Mailer, Arthur Miller, Kurt Vonnegut, Susan Sontag. Where are those people now defending this? You know,
well, some of them are dead, John.
Well, let me ask you a question. Our own government took 48 hours to track down, find out who made the film, and publish their name. Doesn't that sound like a death sentence to you?
No, not in our country.
Well, the guy's not. These people, Salman Rushdie has lived under a death sentence
threat
for over 30 years. And our own government identified the guy. So instead of identifying the people that killed our ambassador, in 48 hours, we had identified the person who made the film and released their name.
Well, the person who made the film, it's a public film, so there's no secret there. But the point is, in our country, we do not kill people if we have different ideas about religion. In these other countries, you have fanatics, and it's not all Arabs, not all Muslims who are there at the embassy door trying to kill us. It's not all Muslims are bad. It's you have this horrible terrorist group who do horrible things to their fellow Arabs.
Actually, the Brotherhood, I forget what it is. I don't have the details.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, why are we funding them with any money?
Well,
why have they been invited to the White House?
The first thing the new president of Egypt did that our president celebrated was demand that we release the blind sheik, one of the major terrorist prisoners that we hold. And you're at odds with your own president because he doesn't say this was a terrorist act. This was just a random occurrence, a group of people who were upset by this film, and they just got out of hand. And one of the guys reached in his pocket and he said, "Oh my goodness, I forgot I had a rocket-propelled grenade launcher in my pocket. I believe I'll shoot it at the embassy."
I think you're oversimplifying. You know, this Arab Brotherhood group has been a significant power in Egypt for decades.
But we're funding them, right? Why is
I can't answer that.
Yes,
I know
we're sending
give
billions of dollars.
We give jillions of dollars to Egypt,
and they've been to the White House. And they're the ones that are
but wait a minute.
guilty of this.
Netanyahu,
well, I don't know
the Prime Minister of Israel, hasn't been to the White House. He can't be bothered to meet with the Prime Minister of Israel.
That's right. He
can meet with David Letterman.
He tried to get an appointment with the president, and he didn't have time.
By the way, on the day after this assassination, the day after the assassination, do you know how many tweets went out from the Obama campaign office? 47. One of them talked about the assassination. The other 46 talked about the fundraiser that night with Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah. All right. I've got to go. I've got jury duty. I've got to go serve my civic duty.
Absolutely.
Right anyway, Sally, I've really enjoyed having you on the show this morning.
Well, thank you. It's been fun.
And I wish that you would come back and sit in with Franklin, because actually Franklin, it would take two Democrats to take John on really well, I think. So, and you could be some backup resource for Franklin.
Okay, I'm going to do push-ups and practice.
Anyway, thanks for coming in, filling in for Franklin, and we want you to come back more often.
Well, thank you.
Always open here.
Hey, Steve, can I say one thing?
Sure.
Rich Kinlan runs the misdemeanor probation office in Bradley County, and apparently someone told him that I had said that office should be closed. To my knowledge, and I asked Steve and I asked Franklin, we've never mentioned misdemeanor probation on the show ever.
Never talked about
so I don't know if someone was confused or just trying to stir things up. But I do want to say Rich runs that office excellently. They turned $80,000 back into the county last year. They've turned in money every year, so they actually make their money and give a surplus back. They actually don't charge as much to the people in the program as surrounding counties. It is an excellent program, excellently run, and I want to congratulate him for that.
All right. Now then, I always like to end the show now with another little recording I found that I really enjoy, Sally, and I hope this doesn't offend you, but this is normally the way I end this show.
It's true. I'm not an American. I mean, I was not born in Hawaii. I wasn't born in the United States of America. I come from Kenya. As the Holy Quran tells us, the Holy Quran teaches that, the Holy Quran tells us, and the Holy Quran also says.
You've been listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson, John Stanberry, and Franklin Chansey. Catch them again on Whoop FM at noon today and every Wednesday morning from 7:30 to 8:30. Now, back to more music on Whoop FM.
The Bald Head